Welcome to Behind the Bar podcast, brought to you by the coaches and clients of RT Fitness Durham, Sunderland, and of course the Barbell Club, where we take you from complete beginner to photo shoot ready. If you want any information on our programs, there's a link below. Just click that, book a call in with Sarah, and she'll get you sorted out. So in today's episode, we have Dave Robinson, a local lad who 13 years ago set up his own business. He followed his passion from being a sparky, set up his own business, cycling business shop, and it's an incredible journey of obviously his business and all of his background, following his passion, and then to be able to sell in the business 13 years later. I've took loads away from this one, really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. So if you haven't already, like our YouTube channel, the podcast, subscribe to it, share it with your friends. Yeah, and just keep sharing the message. Enjoy it. Who is David Robinson? This is Robinson, not Robson.
Robinson.
Robinson, yeah.
Dave Robinson.
Yes. Who is?
Dave Robinson is a local lad, a chancer, a risk taker, a bit of a dreamer. 13 years ago, I decided to leave my day job as a sparky and set up a business to try and earn a living out of my lifelong passion, which is cycling. In 2009, we opened Infinity Cycles. Started with nothing. Started with no cash and no backers, no business experience, and some might say no chance of succeeding. Found out from conversations with kind of friends and family later down the line that nobody really gave me a chance of making a success of it because I had no money and no business experience. Struggled to get brands on board at the start because when you start in an industry where you've got no credibility, I'm sure you found this maybe, getting big brands and big suppliers on board because you've got no credibility, it's just really, really hard.
Right.
But despite all that, over the next 13 years, myself and my team turned the business from that tiny micro startup business, which on paper had no chance, to one with a sort of multi-million pound turnover, and last year sold the business to global bike brand Specialized.
Right.
So super proud of the sort of journey I've been on.
Mint.
And yeah, now I'm just taking some time, out at the minute from professional life. Just kind of resetting, rebooting from a mental 13 years, which included the COVID madness, which you were involved with as well. Yeah. Obviously for the bike industry, it was mega lucrative, made some good money. But the stress...
I didn't know that. I didn't think that, but yeah.
But the stress was insane, and the hours were insane. I was really lucky to have a super strong team working with me to help me get through it. But nonetheless, it kind of took its toll. And after I sold the business last year, I made the decision with the backing of my missus just to take a few months out, just to sort of get my health right, work on self-development, and spend a bit more time with the girls and get myself ready to go back for the next challenge, whatever that turns out to be. Right.
I didn't even know he sold it.
I sold the business. I sold the business.
So who? That was
your research is terrible.
It is. Do you know this? I just automatically put it with it. So when did that happen then? Last year.
Last year, start of the year. So after COVID, the sort of mental stress and load that it put on me, I was kind of, the love for doing it was starting to run out. Right. It was starting to feel like a job, as opposed to my passion. And the conversation started with this global bike brand, along the lines of, we're looking to buy some businesses. And it was the right time for me to exit, so we struck a deal that worked for us both and sold the business in April last year and worked with the business and the new owners until sort of start of December. And then I ducked out and now I'm just living the dream. Train.
So this December just gone,
just gone.
Fucking hell.
So, if somebody had pitched this whole journey to me as a business plan, I would have thought they were mental, because when I started at the beginning, it was all about just doing something I enjoyed. I never had any sort of grand plans of having a big bicycle empire or whatever it turned into, you know. I just wanted it to be me, drink some coffees, chatting to my mates, selling a few bikes, having loads of time off to ride my bikes, all the idealistic stuff that everybody wants when they start off their own business, you know what I mean? But yeah, because I'm kind of super driven and always looking for like the next thing. It kind of never ended really well. I was always looking for new opportunities to expand the business, move the business forward. And like through the whole 13 year, that was just my mindset pretty much every day of the week. So yeah, now that I've sold the business and moved away from it, I'm just enjoying some time just to reflect and plan what I'm going to do next.
Right. So if 13 years ago, did you ever think along the lines then that you would have sold it?
Exit strategy is something that business people talk about.
Right, okay.
And I still don't class myself as a businessman. It's like, it sounds like a bit of a ruthless kind of, you know.
I think that's a stigma from the past, that.
I think it is. And now, like, you know, everybody wants to be a businessman and self-employed and work for themselves. But for me, I'm still just a local lad who started a business up doing what he enjoyed, and I ended it on my terms, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Right. I always toil with the word entrepreneur.
I was going to, when you asked me who was Dave Robinson, I was going to start that with, I'm a businessman and entrepreneur. But it sounds a bit like wanky, you know, it's like, I don't see myself as an entrepreneur, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I think the people, if you ever sort of claiming yourself as that, I think somebody else has to call you it. To actually be it, because you can see people in the bios who's got like 100 followers and still live in the mum's house, entrepreneur in the bio. And it's mad. I think someone has to
give you that phrase.
Give you that sort of title.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Because Sarah's talked about it before, and it's like when she had our own podcast, Drop the Label, and it was like, someone said that about me, and it was like, no, like that's not. I don't want that. Yeah. I think you can understand.
I'm the same. I'm the same. It's like, if somebody else says it about me, like you're saying, no problem. But like, I wouldn't call myself an entrepreneur. You know, it's like now I've left Infinity. It's like a true entrepreneur would probably have the next move already sort of planned out.
Right.
And honestly, I've got no idea what I'm going to do next. You know, it's not a clue. It's what I spend kind of the most time thinking about at the minute. Is like what I'm going to do next.
Yeah. And how are you? You must be looking at some things though. Like, are you educating yourself in certain things, or reading certain books or something like that, guiding you?
Trying to, yeah. I'm trying to become more knowledgeable. I've spent 13 years just like tunnel vision, working on my business and not really looking outside of that. So a lot of things have happened since I started the business and now, and I probably missed out on a lot of stuff, like in terms of like personal development and reading books and that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to do that now. I'm not much of a reader. I prefer podcasts, you know, watching podcasts. I like to watch a podcast more than listen to a podcast, just because you can see the facial expressions, and you can see when somebody puts something across more from the facial expressions, how they mean it, you know. So I prefer to sit on YouTube and watch podcasts. But like in terms of what I want to do next, it's got to be something that I want to get out of bed for. I don't want to go and just get a job for the sake of getting a job. So it's got to be something I'm interested in and passionate about. Something that involves bikes is likely, or fitness is also likely. In a previous life, I was an electrician, and that's the fallback. But that's what my missus has put me under a bit of pressure to go back to, because that's the easy option. But I don't like the easy option, like, you know, just taking the easy option for easy option's sake. It's like, doesn't really appeal to me. I want something that's going to challenge us and get us out of bed in the morning, you know. So
would you say that like owning the business, everything, was that like a happy journey throughout?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy because I was doing something I loved, and you put up with all the stress and the crap because you love doing it, you know. But yeah, there was like endless amounts of stress. I mean, the way the bike industry changed since I started, when we started, like an average selling price for a bike was 400 or 500 quid. Right. It's now like over 2,000 quid. That's the average selling price. That's the average, you know. So, and with like e-bikes and stuff coming around, I had to move the goalposts again. And like modern retail's changed. obviously everybody's buying everything online. If they don't buy online and they come to like a local retailer, you've got to have everything in stock in every size and every colour. You've got to have the best showroom, the best staff. And it's not easy to achieve when you're like a one-man enterprise and you're stocking bikes that are like between 5,000 and 12,000 quid, and you're expected to have 3 or 4 sizes in stock. And if you kind of give it to them now, they will just go home and buy it online because people are ruthless, and that is just the way consumers are. And you kind of argue with it. I'm the same. You know, if I go to a store, I'll give them the first kind of shot at the sale. If they kind of satisfy the sale, you got to do what you got to do to get what you want. You know, so
if the trainers aren't in the size in your shop, you're going to buy them online.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, totally. So it's like, so yeah, retail had changed.
So if that obviously it did make you happy from being an electrician, so why would you go back to the electrician?
I hear stories of like when I got into sparking, it was working for my dad's best mate, doing my dad a favour, give your lad a job kind of thing. And back
just mint.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. And back then, the advice that everybody was giving you was get a trade. Once you've got a trade, you're set for life. You know. So I did that, good experience, and then I left him. I went to work for a big national house building wiring firm.
Right.
And then going through 2008 into 2009, we obviously hit the big recession, and they stopped building houses. And being a Sparky was financially quite rewarding. I've never really been driven by money. It was financially decent, but also had quite a lot of flexibility. So it was job and knock every day. So you'd go in, do your day's graft, and get home. And I was a rider, so I'd start at 7, have no lunch, and be home for 2:30, 3 o'clock. Money in the bank, and the money was good. You got no aggravation from your bosses and that, as long as everybody was happy and the work was getting done. But then, when we hit the recession, all the prices and the money started to dry up. You were travelling further for work. Your days were getting longer and longer and longer.
So it took away your lifestyle.
Took away my lifestyle. So then I was like left in a position where I'm not earning great money anymore. The working conditions are less than ideal. So maybe if I'm going to earn crap money, I might as well earn crap money doing something I enjoy. So that's why I set away with the bike shop. And like the rule of thumb is in the bike industry is to make £1 million, you need to start with 2 million quid.
Who said that?
A few people who've been in the bike industry, because you need so much outlay at the start for the stock. You know, so you need that outlay.
Is it not? So do you not finance the stock on them? Is it, do you got to get the stock first?
Yeah, you buy it. You buy it, and especially when you're starting from scratch, you've got no sort of credit history or anything. So to start the business, we cracked on with. I had no money. I had no savings because I'm not somebody who. I've never typically saved for a rainy day. I'm living for now. You know, if I want the trainers, I'm going to buy the trainers. So I've lost my train of thought there a little bit.
It's all right. I mean, out of all of that in any way, why road bikes? That was my question as well.
So that goes back to when I was a kid.
Does it, right?
Yeah, so my mum was involved with triathlon way back at the start of triathlon.
Mint?
Before it was like, now everybody does triathlon.
Yeah.
Back when
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 44.
44, right, okay.
Yeah, so this is going back to like when I was 10. Maybe, you know, so like over 30 years ago. Triathlon back then was like a bit of a social sport, so you'd turn up on a mountain bike or just a basic like leisure bike and do a triathlon, whatever you had. There was no like expectation you were going to turn up with a 10,000 quid aero rig, you know, like what it is now. So yeah, I love that. I just love the scene. And then I was always kind of around bikes and bike shops, just being that like probably pain in the arse kid who would just hang around and look at new stuff and get in the way. And that kind of in and out through my teens, which is kind of normal, I guess. And then got to early 20s and decided that I wanted to sort of get into road racing. So, and that was off the back of the triathlon, watching the Tour de France on the telly every year. And yeah, road racing's just been kind of my passion ever since then. And I love the tech, I love the bikes, I love the kit. I love the lifestyle. It's a lifestyle as well. You know, it's not just you'll know this from the gym stuff, but it's not just something you do for an hour or two every couple of days. It's like it influences your weekends, what you eat, your diet.
travel a lot with it?
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, not like it was all in the UK, but like
Right.
Scotland and stuff, you know, at the weekend.
I'm sure I've seen you in a different country recently.
Spain, yeah.
Yes,
Spain. So that was something else which came off the back of COVID. Leading up to COVID, like the business kind of wiped its own backside. I never really took anything out of it. Anything we made got put back into the business. But came out of COVID and the business had done well over the 2 years.
Because everyone wanted a bike.
Exactly that, fortunately.
Yeah.
We'd done well and I decided to invest in a property in Spain, in Santa Pola.
Oh, right, Mint. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I bought a place over there.
Right.
Santa Pola it's a great, like, traditional Spanish sort of fishing town.
Right.
Very Spanish, you know. It's only about 50, 60k from Benidorm.
Okay.
But couldn't be any more different from Benidorm, you know.
Yeah. And you could pedal there?
Pardon?
You could pedal to Benidorm, really, 50, 60k?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, like.
You wouldn't want to pedal back, though?
Nah. Benidorm's it's not really my cup of tea, to be fair. But Santa Pola's it's a beautiful little spot, and get over there as often as I can. Obviously now I'm kind of enjoying this little bit of time away from work, and hopefully I'll get over there a bit over the next couple of months and enjoy some nice sunshine. Great roads. Drivers are more considerate. Did you choose
the destination because of the roads though as well? Did you know it was a good cycling place?
So, story to that. A pal of mine is an aircraft engineer. He worked at Newcastle Airport for Jet2, and he had to relocate through work to Alicante. And he had
from here?
He lived in Gateshead. He lived in Gateshead.
That's not bad. Yeah.
He lived in Gateshead. And he's a rider. He loves riding bikes like me. He's got a dog and didn't fancy putting the dog on the aeroplane, so I just picked up a brand new T5, and I was like, I'll tell you what, we'll have a drive over.
What's a T5?
Transporter.
Oh, right. Oh, the VW,
yeah. So I picked it up like about 3 weeks before, and I thought we'll go on a bit of a road trip, and took the dog and all his belongings on the boat and drove over to Santa Pola, and I was there for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and just fell in love with the place straight away.
Did you?
Yeah, it was everything you'd want as a cyclist. I mean, the roads are amazing. The climate's obviously fantastic. And the town centre is just beautiful. Loads of nice Spanish bars and restaurants and stuff. So it's everything you could want, really.
Do you think you'd retire out there?
I would love to. I'd live there now, but obviously young kids in school and stuff, you know, it's not. How
old are them?
It's not the time. So my youngest is 9. Yeah, so it's a little bit of time.
I know, my youngest 3. It's just before I can leave.
But I love to. I mean, obviously when your life is like very much outdoors based and focused, then I went out yesterday on the bike, and my love for the bike now is less than what it was. I still enjoy it, but the conditions have got to be right and it's got to be on my terms.
Yeah.
Went out yesterday for a couple of hours and the weather was grey and it was freezing, and you know, it's like 20 years ago I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. I've done it for that long.
Yeah.
But I just, I'd rather just go into the garage or just go and do a 5k run and get it done in 20 minutes, you know, but it's the means to an end. I still ride a bike, so you still got to sit on the bike at some point. You know?
Yeah. So what did you compete through adult life, or was it just younger years?
Compete?
Like compete on the bike?
Yeah. More so through adult life.
Right.
The triathlons I did with my mum, like I said, they were just for fun, you know. I was never competitive, you know. It was just turn up, something to do on a Sunday morning. But yeah, the racing really started like early 20s through in the early 30s.
Right.
That was like the big spell when I was right into it.
And what level's that? Like, I don't know road biking myself.
Yeah, so I mean, UK based, UK kind of classifications, ranking system, I guess, is elite category, which is generally your full-time riders.
Right.
And you got first, second, third, and fourth category, which is your novices and your newbies.
Right. Okay.
I worked my way up to like a first cat. Most first cats are like good club level riders, stroke wannabe professional riders.
Right.
So I got the first cat, and that was like.
But still a Sparky on the side.
Still a Sparky. Yeah. So I was still full time. I was riding with the elites, and but I was just kind of pack fill. I was just in the middle. Once you start riding with the elites and guys who were riding full time and living out, it starts to get hard. And I kind of reached that natural sort of plateau of where my natural abilities were, and I couldn't. The fun was starting to go out of it. I wasn't riding for fun anymore. I was riding because it was it started to feel like a job as opposed to a hobby, and something I was passionate about. So I just kind of wound it in a bit, dropped down to second cat, and I was super competitive because most second cats are working full time. They're good riders, but they're working full time. So you can compete, and you don't have to do crazy amounts of training, and it's just a more enjoyable thing. But I don't really compete anymore now within cycling. I feel like I've ticked that box and done it. You're racing against the same lads most weeks and riding the same courses most weeks, and like you can normally predict the results most weeks. To be fair, because you know who's better than you around you, and so now everything I do now within fitness is just I'm doing it because I want to do it, and because it's just a bit of a challenge more than like pure competition, you know.
Yeah. So you've got a mint home gym.
My home gym is I'm super lucky with that.
Yeah, it's really nice. You've done a mint job there.
Love it.
So what's the goals with that? You've obviously started lifting more now.
Just to progress a bit, mate. To be fair, it's obviously came to the Carnage last year and made some progression with that. On the kettlebell side of things, I could see my physique started like kind of develop and change a little bit, and didn't really know where I wanted to take it. Finished the Carnage 12-week program, and decided I wanted to just see where I go with the weights. I contacted Sarah, but the timings just kind of didn't work out.
Yeah.
So scratched me head a little bit, and decided that because I was going to have time off through this year, that having a home gym would be handy and just something I can jump onto. And I just when I'm training, I train at a kind of a casual pace. I'm not under any pressure to get in and out an hour, so it's nice. So I'm like, I'll go in and spend 2 hours, and I'm obviously not like, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I'm still learning, so it's like I'll do a couple of sets and then go on YouTube and like watch some tutorials on how to do things right and the form you should be taking. And I'm just taking my time, making sure that the form's right and just developing really, and the weights are kind of creeping up and my physique is continuing to develop as well, which is satisfying, because I'm right at the start. As a cyclist, I've always had really strong legs. Strong legs, big quads, and like the upper body of like a 9-year-old child, so it's kind of trying to just like even it out a little bit. So at the minute, my training is like upper body biased.
Trying to even out.
Pretty much. Once I get to the point where I'm even, then I'll start to do a bit more leg work. And I'm obviously still cycling, still running as well on top of the gym work. So it's good. But I've got tons of time. I'm in a really lucky position. So just making the most of it.
That's most men's dream, not to train the legs, by the way.
So
you're living the dream for a bit.
I hear that leg day isn't a good day. Like, I think when you're a cyclist, you're used to your legs hurting a lot, So like doing squats and that, I do quite enjoy it, but it's just, if I'm going to put my time at the minute into anything, I'm going to put it into my weakest areas to develop them first, and that is definitely my upper body, like, so just doing a bit of that.
And would you say all these years of road cycling, because that's quite a solo sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like where you've built this home gym garage, has that helped like from the mental aspect of just being able to do it yourself?
A little bit. Cycling is quite a solitary sport, but once you get into it and you obviously start riding with groups of lads and stuff, it's also quite a social sport, So,
right. Okay.
You'll do 75% of your training probably on your own, but there still is a social element to it. But just any form of exercise, I think I enjoy doing it on my own from time to time. I kind of train on my own all the time, but doing it on your own, sometimes going for a run or a bike ride or going to the gym for a couple of hours on your own, just good headspace, You can unwind and let things just kind of filter through your head that you don't have time for when you're doing other stuff, So I enjoy that. And when I was working in the shop, it was, right at the end of the day, you'd kind of process all the shit that had gone on through the day. You leave work kind of full of hell, but by the time you got home, it was all gone, So, and that's the beauty of working out, isn't it? It gives you that opportunity just to process stuff and get perspective on things,
Definitely, because I find a lot of the people would just set their own gyms up, all the rest of it. They go for it for the first 3 weeks, and then it becomes just a load of closed horses. Have you stuck it out?
Yeah, I mean, the weight side, so like obviously the weather's getting a bit better now, so I bought a load of HIIT stuff as well.
Oh, have you? Right, okay.
Like the erg rower, skier, and,
have you?
and the assault bike. I bought the whole lot, But because I'm doing the running and the riding, I don't really need to do any more cardio than that, you know. So that stuff is sitting.
Especially if you want to add mass.
Yeah,
as well, yeah.
Totally. I've got that. I'm in a bit of a funny position because I want to put muscle on, but I don't want to like put loads of weight on. You know, I want to just like develop lean muscle. That's all I want. And
it's what everybody wants.
I know all about bulking, but I don't want to do the bulking bit because I'm a rider. You know, I don't want to put loads of weight on to have to lose it again because it's just going to affect me cycling.
Have you seen him since the last time you've seen him?
Sure, it's the funniest. Last time I lived and I was riding bikes, I used to snap the spokes.
Did you?
That was so funny.
Is he much bigger than when the last time you seen him?
To be fair, I've seen photographs of him in the gym and that.
Oh, right,
you can tell he's put some weight on like that.
Because when did you start here?
Right, so when I started...
What month was that?
It was September. He was cutting, right?
Oh, he was that's the end of his cut, wasn't it?
He was like the Grim Reaper, mate.
Yeah, he was awful.
That was my first experience of this place, right? So I walked in and he'd be stood there with his hood up. And I'd like come in trying to be chirpy, and that was like, I'm not a morning person, but I'll come in at like 7 o'clock trying to be chirpy, and he was stood leaning against that on his phone, this white face, just like, no crack. I'd go home and say, my last would be like, how did you get on? And I'm like, I'm in agony, you know, for the first week, and I'm like, this guy who's taking it, he's not very motivational, like, he's... I didn't know what was...
sent straight to Sarah, this bit.
I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know about the cold cutting thing, because I was new to it. And, but that was the crack, like. But then he obviously got over his show and all that kind of stuff, and
he became happy, didn't he? A couple of weeks later,
a little bit more chirpy.
Jolly
a little bit more chirpy.
I mean, he's not the jolliest of people, but fuck me, we've told him he has to take a month off in August when he does the cut, like because of that. I think there we go. There it is. There, Luke, straight in at you.
I think you put a photograph of him sitting on the couch on your social media, and you look like a homeless person, like.
Yeah.
I used to have a bowl of coke.
But all right, what, in August? Because he has gone like so bulking and cutting, obviously. For I mean, he's extreme. It's I never go that. I try and do the lean mass thing. It never really works out because even when I am trying to say bulk that little bit, I get a little bit worried about like how lean I've been. Do you know, it's a mental thing. Because probably same with you. Do you not want to lose that leanness to get bigger?
Because I'm still riding, obviously, when you go on a pill on a bike, it's kilos of... I think you need to put fat on first to turn it into muscle, yeah?
Not really. It's generally when people are bulking, it's just you get stronger faster if you're bigger. I think of strong men, like they're not lean. I mean, there's a very, very handful of them who are leaner, but generally you're putting weight on to get stronger, to add the lean mass, so you're going to put fat on regardless.
I'm not in a rush. I'll take my time. It's I just want to develop my physique. I don't want I've got no intention of being Mr. Universe. You know what I mean? I just want to put a bit of size in my body. Hey?
It's his next challenge, Mr. Universe. I don't think your lass would be happy going into that.
I just want to be like put me budgie smugglers on at the beach in Santa Paula.
Yeah, exactly.
Look the part, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, you've got all the data. You've got a Whoop strap on, and you're dated up.
Yeah, I'm dated up, but the data from both devices is not the same data. It's like, it's like, do you use this sort of stuff?
I only use Fitbit. That's it, because it's simple. I can keep it on hour night. I've considered the Whoop. I know Alex, my coach, was. Which one's better?
Oh, these two? Mm-hmm. I don't know. They both give me different readings, so how do you know which one's better? It's like which one's right and which one's wrong.
That's the thing, isn't it? You just go with
I think the sleeping patterns seems to be better on the Whoop.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Garmin gives like false readings where I've been lying in bed in the night reading my phone or whatever, and I haven't gone to bed. I've gone to bed at 10, but not gone to sleep till like 11:30 or something. And this says I'm asleep at 10, you know. So from that point of view, the sleep data on the Garmin, I know it is not great.
Yeah.
But I just kind of take both and average it out and somewhere in the middle. And as long as my HRV is like decent, that seems to be fairly important. I'm happy.
Because with this data, I'm just thinking for where you're saying you want to try and lean mass, because at the end of the day, you can put lean mass on 200 plus, 200, 250 surplus calories wise, and you can just get that from carbs, to be fair.
Aye.
And if you looked at your data and then just thought, this is my data, if I just eat another 200 per day, that's it. I know it sounds so simple.
To be fair, I probably need to...
When you need to adjust that when it stops gaining.
Yeah, and then you adjust it when you stop gaining up.
I probably will get the point where I need to come to the Barbell Club or something like that and do something like that and get some advice from somebody who knows the crack, because all that stuff there you've just talked about is completely alien to me.
Is it?
Yeah,
Right.
no
But
idea.
you're seeing all the calories burned, aren't you?
Yeah, I know what the crack is. Yeah, I know. Obviously, like going through carnage, I didn't do any of the food tracking or anything.
Right.
So
Okay.
I've got a bit of an understanding from my riding days,
Yeah.
like what I'm putting into myself and how many calories is in different types of food. But I am trying to like eat more protein and stuff now.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm kind of majoring on. But yeah, just learn it as I go along, really, and I'm enjoying it. That's
And
the most
not in a
important
rush.
thing. I'm not in a rush at all, mate. Nah, I don't.
And the enjoyment part is probably the best part.
Yeah, I love it.
If you can enjoy
it's
it.
It's something new. Like I
yeah.
said, the love of riding the bike every day is gone. So now I'm mixing it up. I'm doing 3 or 4 gym sessions a week, a couple of runs, 2 or 3 bike rides. So I'm active once or twice every day of the week, pretty much. So I'm enjoying it. I don't feel like it's too much because I'm sort of mixing it up a bit, you know. So
Yeah.
it's good.
So I'm going to go, do you know what it is? Selfishly, I'm going to go back because obviously where you sold the business and that and stuff like that. I'm really intrigued about what your next sort of plans are. I know you said you're not sure and stuff like that. How are you finding, like, where are you looking towards the motivation to find something, or what, are you just hoping something comes?
Pretty much, I'm pretty much hoping that one morning I wake up and there's a job offer or an opportunity that just comes along that takes me fancy, you know. Seriously, I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's
right.
It's a weird feeling. After like spending 13 years being programmed to do, you know what you're doing every single day for 13 years, and then that stops. And it's like, right, what next? I don't know.
So you don't know?
I don't know. And
Guided tours in Spain.
Could you?
I moved to Spain like tomorrow, but practicalities aren't ideal.
Aren't there yet?
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
But who knows? But I'm not in a rush. I've got a bit of time on my side, and
Right.
my missus has just started a full-time job. She's been she hasn't really worked that much over the last couple of years, and she's just getting into a full-time job just as I've come out of a full-time job. So now it's like I'm doing the school run, which is great. I've never had the opportunity to do that, so doing the school run, just spending more time with a little girl and doing things that like normal dads who don't run businesses do, you know.
Yeah.
Got more time to do that kind of stuff, so I'm enjoying that, and it's all good. Whatever will be, will be. I'll figure it out.
Do you find it hard though? Because when I've got 3 boys, and no matter what, I still find it like say when Sarah's doing something for a full day, as much as I love them, I'll put that in there first, it's still fucking hard. And it's like the patience of a mum to do it compared to me, like I'm not that great. I mean, no, I'm not that great. I just know that like I couldn't do it for a long time.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I think it's just like ingrained into us. It's I can do the school run, make tea, square that away, but then when Denise comes in from work, it's like, right, I've done my bit. Over to you, mum. Get her ready for bed.
Even though she's just been to work all day.
I've still made a tea and that, you know. What I mean? So I've done my bit. I've done my bit. You know, she's out with that. Takes the dog for a walk and gets her a bit of exercise. But it's just a balancing act. I don't know. I think when you run a business, you become a bit of a selfish bastard. You know, it's like it just is. I think to make the business successful, you've got to focus on it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to do it, you know. And I think you and Sarah being in the business together probably means that you're both equally as driven about the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas for me and my missus, it was my life and all I thought about every single day, which made me selfish. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of put that right, I guess, and be less selfish and be a bit more considerate, you know. But
did you know that at the time?
Yeah, totally. I did. But I couldn't do.
But that's good that you were self-aware of it, though.
I couldn't do anything about it. It was. It's just in my DNA. It's like when I decided I was going to open the shop. It was May, and the shop opened in July, and in that time I found 40 grand, and set up all the suppliers and found a retail space and all in like 2.5 months. And everything I do is like...
And that's good timing, that.
I'm just driven,
Yeah.
and it is relentless, and I cannot switch it off, and it's been that full on for so long that like having the time that I've got now is, once I get back into work, I might not have this time again until I do finally retire. So I'm just gonna make the most of it.
Most people in COVID felt what retirement was.
Aye.
But you were flat out.
The opposite, completely opposite.
So now basically you're attacking your COVID time.
Yes. but yeah, I mean,
in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, COVID was mental. I mean, so when COVID kicked off, I was actually in Santa Pola.
Right.
And Spain was locked down 2 weeks before the UK. So going to Spain, it was like, me and my mate were sitting on the plane, and there was one wife on the plane with a mask on, and we were like, see this woman here with a mask on.
That was the norm.
3 days later, like Spain went into lockdown, and Spain did lockdown like brutal. Yeah, you couldn't leave your house. It was like there was police patrolling the streets, sending people home and stuff. And that was when like it dawned on me like how bad it was going to be. So we'd gone over there to ride our bikes, and we couldn't ride our bikes for 3 days. So we spent 3 days watching the world news, getting paranoid about COVID and how the world was going to end, and drinking San Miguel and eating baguettes and just thinking, shit. So I'm sitting next to my mate, and my mate also works for me. He became the business partner.
Yeah.
And he now sort of manages the shop. And I'm thinking, how do I tell him that, like, I've got enough money to pay their wages for 1 month, and that's it. And then we're like, we're snookered. So we came home, and obviously bike shops were on the lucky list of businesses that were allowed to stay open.
Yeah.
And that was like, but then you've got to deal with all your staff. I didn't personally give a shit. I worked all the way through COVID. Didn't wear a mask at the start when you didn't have to. I wore a mask out of respect when you had to. I travelled to the house in Santa Pola because you could still travel abroad if you had a property abroad to maintain and stuff. So
right, okay.
I did a bit of travelling, and I never tested positive for COVID. It never really bothered me personally. But you still got to be respectful and mindful of your staff and stuff, you know. So we came back. We initially shut the shop down, and I was just going in on my own, checking the mail orders. I was like, I'm just picking up a bit here. It's getting a little bit busy. Didn't expect this. Thought the whole world had come to a grinding standstill.
Yeah.
Got busier and busier. Then I got the lad in who was my mate. I was in Spain with Luke. He came in to give me a hand. And then it just continued to get busier. Then you're like ringing around, saying like, if anybody wouldn't mind coming in to give you a hand.
Yeah.
And it just went ridiculous. And like we had 3 months of just, it was like winning the lottery.
Yeah, well, it is. Did all your stock go then?
We sold everything.
Did you?
We sold everything. It was you couldn't because of everything I'd done in the run up to it. So for years and years and years, I'd always invested in stock, and we probably had too much stock. But then this COVID thing happened, and we had stock that most other local bike shops had run out of stock after 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
We were still churning through stock in week 5, 6, 7, and 8. It took like 2.5 months for us to pretty much clear the decks of everything. But
wow.
It was the graft and the investment that we put in before COVID that meant we could like reap the rewards of COVID, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was stressful. I drank every night.
Did you?
Every single night. I didn't ride the bike once, and I drank every night. I was just like, when is this going to end? It was mind blowing. Every night it was out of control. I was out of control. The situation just totally got the better of me, you know, and I didn't really know how to deal with it. To be fair,
yeah,
I learned tons about myself as an employer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just bizarre. I mean, for you guys, I mean, I had no idea what you were thinking going into it. Like, because it was like
we literally thought, like, do you know, nowadays we took it on the nose a bit. It was just like, if we have to close, we have to close, and it was like we can always do something else. And then we just wrote this nice post in the group, like, look, this is what's happening. If you can stick with us all the way through, whatever else. And the amount of people who actually stuck with us was mental. And like still paying the full price. I mean, we did for the Barbell people, so we still ran the Barbell program online. We ran the Carnage program online. We did 3 sessions a day live for 5 days a week. And loads of people stuck with us. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. I mean, obviously shitting ourselves, but with everybody buying home equipment, buying bikes and all the rest of it, we did get the grants, and with the grants we were going to buy loads of new equipment. But every fucker bought all the stock, didn't they? So that drove the prices up for when we came back. But yeah, I mean, we were shitting ourselves a bit, but it was the case of like, what can we do? Like we thought everybody was in the same situation, and were, like a lot of people were, and then we opened up, and since then getting busier and busier and busier. We're like, I think our reflection of it all was, where we had more time in the house and stuff like that, we came up with battle plans, like where we probably, like, but you learned a lot about yourself, we learned a lot about ourselves, and it was like, we can make something more of it when we do come back, and we did. And well, we just opened the third unit there. So
that's class,
yeah.
Is that finished now, all done, dusted, or?
Little bits.
Tweaks,
yeah. Just cosmetic stuff.
Looks good though.
Yeah,
that's good.
2 weeks, 5 days it took.
Decent.
From saying let's do it, it was.
It's the only way to do it though. If you've got a project like you want it, once you've invested your money into it, you've decided you're going to do it. You've just got to get it open as fast as you can, and make it work. Decided not to go with the fancy hexagon lights.
No, I didn't. Do you know what it is? Like Arj is a light guy in here, like he owns his own lighting business, and he did put these lights in and put the other Sunderland lights in, and then messaged him, and he gave us some shit ones at first. Like, sorry Arj, but he'll never watch it. But he gave us some shit ones at first that were ugly, so I got him to change them, and they're quite like short ones. And then I did price the hexagon ones up. I didn't. For the whole unit, it was going to cost like triple to what Arj put them in. I thought they weren't that bad.
They do look class-like.
Yeah, they do look good.
When you put them in your garage at home, it's like a bit of an extravagance. But when you're trying to fill a big space with them, like it's phenomenal.
Because I said, like, because it always come up the price like $499 or something like that. But that
starting from
I think that was like for 5 lights.
That was like mine. That was what mine.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Thereabouts.
And that's for a garage to fill. So I don't know how. I mean, to fair dues, the new unit's only 1,200. So it wouldn't have been that much, but I did price it up, squared it up, and all the rest of it, and it was triple the price of what my lights were.
It looks good, mate. It looks great, you know. Or fully blacked out on that.
It does. I'm buzzing with it.
Is it full? Busy?
Not full yet. We need coaches. That's the problem. Need coaches. It seems to be always the thing. But for what we've actually done straight away, because as soon as I said, give myself 3 weeks to open it. And that was the drive, like you driven, and it was just, if I put that time frame on it, we'll get it done, we'll get it opened. And we had a load of new clients already signed up, even the people who we haven't had before. But because of the way the 6 because obviously you've seen how it works here, this runs at the same time as that. That was only one running at the same time. So now we can have the 3 barbell running downstairs at the same time as that. So people from this program have been dying for a 6 AM slot for ages, for years even. So we've had a handful of people move straight in. So I think we've doubled our barbell people, like, overnight.
There seems to be a lot of demand for barbell there. Is that the more popular of the two, or?
I think it's pretty even.
I guess you get the newbies coming into Carnage and then developing, like, progressing to barbell.
Yeah.
So that
it does. Most of our clients are from Carnage. We hardly ever advertise the barbell.
Demand for barbell is always going to be there, isn't it, off the back of the Carnage thing? Providing you've got people coming into the Carnage, you know.
I think because I think it's a progression, because it's like, how many years can you do burpees for? And I think as we get older, the weightlifting, the static stuff is much more beneficial anyway. And because of the value of it as well for personal training 4 times a week, like it's unreal. Like where people are charging, I don't know how much 4 times a week personal training going to cost you. 120. How much? 20.
20 odd quid an hour.
Minimum, yeah. I would say 30, 35, even 40, some people. So say 150 quid a week for 160 quid a month program. So yeah, and it is personal training. And then they get the fucking shred on top. Don't they, Luke? He thinks they should pay extra.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think so. It's like it doesn't.
Extra hour.
It probably doesn't appeal to everybody either.
They get a diet plan. And they get coached.
Yeah. Extra coaching. But the way I see it is, if they do the shred, if they complete it, they get great photos. I get to use the photos. That's it. It's a win-win.
It's a good business model.
Yeah.
Like it seems to. It's like when I first started coming here, I couldn't really get my head around the fact that you did like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon, and the gym was just like closed all day.
And Wednesday, and Saturday, and Sunday.
But then I think it was you and Sarah were talking in one of your previous chats on your podcast about like you tried opening during the day.
We did, yeah.
And it was just like the overheads weren't worth what you were getting back kind of thing. So you've like created this mint business model that works really well, you know. This wasn't the first gym I came to.
Right, okay.
I went to another local gym and did the personal training thing.
Oh, and, actually PT?
Yeah.
One-to-one, right, okay.
And I didn't really get anything out. Pardon?
He's not going to say.
I'll tell you when the cameras are off, but I didn't. I felt like I was a pain in the arse, you know. It was like going into it, I was like, look, I'm busy.
And you fucking got him as your coach. Sorry. But yeah, go on.
I'm busy. Yeah, I've got a business. This is when I can do it. And we kind of came up with a schedule that fitting around me. And then it was like, oh, yeah, I've got no staff, so these are the times I've got spare. And I was like, it doesn't work for me though. So he said, right, give us a week or two, we get some new staff. We'll be able to get back to where I was before. And I chased for like 4 or 5 weeks. I'd already paid for like 20 sessions up front or something like that, you know?
Right, okay.
They're half hours.
Pardon?
They're half hours.
Half hours or full hours? Full hours, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, then this lad left the gym. So that didn't go well. So I think I did maybe 4 or 5 weeks training and didn't get anything from it. Nah. And I came here and like, swear I got that first session of the day. The first week I came here, even though I was a little bit heavier, I was still riding the bike a bit. I classed myself as fairly fit. And it wrecked me. I can remember doing bear crawls for the first time. Bear crawls. He was showing me how to do mountain climbers. I never clue what mountain climbers was. At the end of the session, we had to do some burpees. And I was just like, my shoulders have gone. And he was like, he was in these cut fades. You what?
To be fair, they're the best ones.
Yeah. You've come in at a good level.
My shoulders have gone. I was like, I can't like put any weight. My shoulders are completely gone. But it was a killer, and I got my eyes opened by some of the people who come here, you know, and it was like, you would put yourself at a higher level. Yeah. But for the first few weeks, they give me a
50-year-old with 3 kids or something just bombing past you.
Give me a good hiding. You know, for the first few weeks, I was getting my arse handed to us every single day, you know, and it hurts your ego a little bit, you know. But I stuck it out. You know.
You've done it.
I enjoyed it. It was great, and it did what I wanted it to do. You know.
Yeah.
Big part of it for me was the drinking aspect. Drinking became like a crutch to like switch off from work at the end of the day.
Right.
And like through COVID, I drank every night probably for 6 months, and I've done that off and on for the whole 13 years. I'll come away from it, get fit, and then fall back into it again because too much shit's happening at work.
Yeah.
When I spoke to Sarah, I was like, I need an early morning slot because I want a reason not to have a drink at night.
Right.
I wouldn't turn up over and make an ass of myself, you know. So, and doing the 3 or 4 sessions every week helped me just kind of get into the routine of not overdoing it with a drink, not drinking during the week, and then just taking a bit steadier at the weekend, you know. So, and since I finished, I've carried that on. So yeah.
So how often do you drink now?
Friday, Saturday night.
Right.
Every week without fail, you know.
What do you drink?
How much or what?
Well, I'll ask what do you drink and then how much?
Just lager.
Just lager, all right. And then how much?
Madry. Yeah, 12 cans between the 2 nights.
That's not bad.
It's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know? It's not ridiculous. Hey?
No, it's no Rush. Rush is a client in a, yeah.
12 cans, maybe it's a bit more some weekends depending on what's going on, but
right.
It makes no difference to me weight because I'm doing so much.
Yeah.
That level of drinking doesn't affect my mood. I can still get up and train all right. I wouldn't, if I was going to do something really intense the next day, I wouldn't have a drink the night before. Or I had an event the next day, I wouldn't drink the night before. But most weekends, not a big deal. I'll have a takeaway every weekend, 1 takeaway.
Good.
But that's like cutting back from drinking every night, having 3 or 4 takeaways every week.
Yeah.
Just being lazy because I had a business and I had no time. I made no time, you know, so it's a lazy option really.
Sweet. Let's get to the last one then. So what advice would you give to someone, I always ended with this one, what advice would you give to someone to live a leaner, healthier lifestyle? You've been in the fitness world forever. Obviously you've taken it, you say you're taking it better now? Say it more serious now or not?
my fitness.
Yeah, like your fitness.
I feel that my general fitness now is better than it's been for years. It's,
right.
Because I'm doing more than just riding a bike. Riding a bike makes you really good at just doing that one thing, riding a bike. It's no good for general fitness, obviously your cardio is good, your legs are strong. But you see guys that all they've done is ride a bike all their life and they get like 50 or 60, 70 and they start to walk in the same position that they ride a bike. They're all hunchbacked and stuff. And, the physique's weird because cyclists have weird physiques.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like my general health now is as good as it's ever been.
Good. So what advice would you give to someone to live a leaner, healthier lifestyle?
I think you've got to find something you enjoy. That's like the most important thing. It's no good like forcing yourself to do something that you don't really enjoy. I've tried it with the cycling for a long time, forced myself to go out 5 days a week when I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
And I think when you're doing something you're not loving, you'll probably stop and then you'll just fall out of a routine and then you'll just forget about it. So you've got to find something that you enjoy and getting into a good routine, making sure you don't, if you have a shit couple of days where you don't train, don't let that become a couple of weeks and a couple of months. Get back onto it, even if you lose a week or two. It's not the end of the world, provided you don't let that become a month or two. And then the further it goes, the harder it is to kind of get back, So just keeping it regular.
Sweet.
Consistent.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the next chapter of your life, bud. Cheers, thanks for coming on, buddy. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, Matt.